In the annals of American history, few events are as stark and tragic as the mob violence that erupted on June 27, 1844, in Carthage, Illinois. It was a day when religious fervor, political tension, and simmering hatred converged, culminating in a brutal act that forever altered the course of a burgeoning faith and left an indelible stain on the nation's promise of religious freedom. The air hung heavy with anticipation and dread as two men, brothers, awaited their fate in a small, unassuming jail, unaware of the masked figures gathering outside, ready to unleash a storm of violence. Remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime. June 27, 1844, dawned with an ominous quiet over Carthage, Illinois. Joseph Smith, the charismatic founder of the Latter-day Saint movement, and his brother Hyrum were incarcerated in Carthage Jail. They faced charges of treason and inciting a riot, stemming from the destruction of the printing press of the Nauvoo Expositor, a newspaper critical of Smith and his practice of polygamy. The destruction of the press had inflamed anti-Mormon sentiment in the region, leading to widespread calls for Smith's arrest and even violence against his followers. Governor Thomas Ford had initially pledged protection to Smith, convincing him and Hyrum to surrender to authorities in Carthage. However, the situation quickly deteriorated. The local militia, the Carthage Greys, tasked with guarding the jail, were largely hostile towards the Smiths. Despite warnings of threats against Joseph's life, Governor Ford dismissed these concerns and departed for Nauvoo, leaving the brothers vulnerable. Inside the jail, Joseph, Hyrum, and their companions, Willard Richards and John Taylor, spent their final hours in relative calm, studying the Book of Mormon and singing hymns. Earlier that day, Joseph had written a letter to his wife Emma, expressing his resignation and love for his family, stating, "I am very much resigned to my lot, knowing I am justified and have done the best that could be done. Give my love to the children and all my friends." As the afternoon wore on, a mob of 150 to 200 men, their faces blackened with wet gunpowder, stormed the Carthage jail. They overwhelmed the guards, rushing up the stairs to the room where the Smith brothers were held. Hyrum Smith was the first to fall, shot in the face almost immediately, reportedly exclaiming, "I am a dead man," as he collapsed. Joseph Smith, armed with a pepperbox pistol smuggled in by a visitor, fired several shots, emptying the weapon at his attackers. He then attempted to escape through a second-story window. However, he was shot multiple times, falling from the window to the ground below, where he was shot again by the waiting mob. John Taylor, another companion, was shot 4 times but miraculously survived, while Willard Richards emerged unscathed. The brutal assassination sent shockwaves across the nation and marked a pivotal moment for the Latter-day Saint movement. The bodies of Joseph and Hyrum Smith were transported back to Nauvoo, where thousands mourned their loss. 5 men were later indicted for the murders, but all were acquitted in a trial that many scholars consider a sham due to the lack of Latter-day Saint witnesses. Joseph Smith became the first U.S. presidential candidate to be assassinated, having announced his candidacy earlier that year. Thanks for watching. Remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime.